Hi friends, here we are once again, ready for some more adventures of Flat Stanley. Flat Stanley by Jeff Brown. Can you remember what was happening with Flat Stanley the last time we were together? If you recall, what did he do? That's right. Why was he going down the drain in the road? Can you recall? That's right. His mom lost her ring. That's right. And who was it that thought she was crazy talking to the drain in the middle of the road? The police officers did. They just didn't know that down there below was Stanley, swinging backward and forward till he found his mom's ring and saved the day. Ta-da! That was quite an adventure, wasn't it? The next thing he did was fly out to California. But now, this time, we're going to hear the adventures of Stanley the... Can you sound out this word? Kite. Kite. What? Stanley's going to be a kite? Oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing. What did you say? Oh, Flat Larry says he doesn't think Stanley can really be a kite. You don't think so? We'll find out. Let's take a look. All right, friends, you ready to listen? Have you got your listening ears on? Here we go. Mr. Lambchop had always liked to take the boys out with him on Sunday afternoons. Remember, Flat Stanley has a brother, right? So that's why it's boys, 2 boys. He liked to take them out on Sunday afternoons to a museum or roller skating in the park, but it was difficult when they were crossing streets or moving about in crowds. Stanley and Arthur, his brother, would often be jostled from Mr. Lambchop's side, and he got worried about speeding taxis or that hurrying people might accidentally knock them down. However, it was easier when Stanley got flat. Mr. Lambchop discovered that he could roll Stanley up without hurting him at all. He would tie a piece of string around Stanley to keep him from unrolling, and then make a little loop in the string so that he could carry him. He could hold on to Arthur with the other hand. Here's a picture. See, Stanley's all rolled up, and he's holding on to Arthur with the other hand. Look, he's very happy about this solution. You can tell because of his big smile. Stanley did not mind being carried because he had never much liked to walk anyway. Arthur didn't like to walk either, but he had to, and that made him mad. Let's see if we can look at Arthur's face and tell. Does he look mad to you? He's not smiling. His shoulders look a little hunchy. Well, one Sunday afternoon in the street, they met Ralph Jones, an old college friend of Mr. Lambchop's. "Well, George, I see you have bought some wallpaper," Mr. Jones said. "Going to decorate your house, I suppose? Now, why do you think that Mr. Jones thought that Mr. Lambchop had wallpaper? Do you think it might have been Stanley that he thought was the wallpaper? Wow. Oh my goodness, let's see. "Wallpaper?" said Mr. Lambchop. Oh, no. This is my son, Stanley." "What?" "How do you do?" Stanley said, and Mr. Lambchop undid the string and Stanley unrolled. "Nice to meet you, young fella," the man said. "George," he said to Mr. Lambchop, "that boy is flat." Do you think Mr. Lambchop didn't know that? "Smart, too," Mr. Lambchop said. "Stanley is 3rd from the top in his class at school." "Phooey," said Arthur. How do you think Arthur is feeling? "This is my younger son, Arthur," Mr. Lambchop said, "and he will apologize for his rudeness." Arthur could only blush and apologize. Mr. Lambchop rolled Stanley up again, and they set out for home. It rained quite hard while they were on the way. Stanley, of course, hardly got wet at all, just around the edges, because he was rolled up. But Arthur got soaked. How does he look now, friends? How can you tell? Look at his hands. They're made into fists, angry fists. What else? Look at his mouth. And his eyes. I think his body is telling us he is very angry. So, late that night, Mr. and Mrs. Lambchop heard a noise out in the living room. They found Arthur lying on the floor near the bookcase. Got any guesses about what may happen? Arthur had piled up a great many volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica on top of himself. "Put some more on me," Arthur said when he saw them. "Don't just stand there, help me." Look. Why do you think Arthur was doing that? What did he want to happen? He wanted to be made flat. Mr. and Mrs. Lambchop sent him back to bed, but the next morning they spoke to Stanley. "Arthur can't help being jealous," they said. "Be nice to him. You're his big brother after all." The next Sunday, Stanley and Arthur went to the park by themselves. The day was sunny but windy too, and many older boys were flying beautiful, enormous kites with long tails made in all the colors of the rainbow. Do you remember the colors of the rainbow? Do you remember the song? Red and orange, yellow and green, blue and purple too. That's right, very good. Arthur, though, he just sighed. "Someday," he said, "I will have a big kite, and I will win a kite flying contest and be famous like everyone else. Nobody knows who I am these days." He's feeling sad now, isn't he? Stanley remembered what his parents had said. He went to a boy whose kite was broken and borrowed a large spool of string. "You can fly me, Arthur," he said. "Come on." He attached the string to himself and gave Arthur the spool to hold. He ran lightly across the grass, sideways to get up speed. Then he turned to meet the breeze. Whoosh! Up, up, up went Stanley, being a kite. Take a look at that. Who would you like to be in this part of the story? Would you like to be Arthur, or would you like to be Stanley? That's something fun to think about. Let's see what happens next. Oh, I see. Stanley knew just how to manage on the gusts of wind. He faced full into the wind if he wanted to rise up, and he let it take him from behind when he wanted speed. He had only to turn his thin edge to the wind carefully, a little at a time, so that it did not get hold of him, and then he would slip gracefully down toward the earth again. Arthur let out all the string, and Stanley soared high above the trees, a beautiful sight in his red shirt and blue trousers against the pale blue sky. Everyone in the park stood still to watch. Stanley swooped right and then left in long matched swoops. He held his arms by his side and zoomed at the ground like a rocket and curved up again toward the sun. He side-slipped and circled and made figure eights and crosses and even a star. Nobody has ever flown the way Stanley Lambchop flew that day, and probably no one ever will again. After a while, of course, people grew tired of watching. They usually do. And Arthur got tired of running about with the empty spool. Stanley went right on, though, showing off. I sense a problem coming. 3 boys came up to Arthur and invited him to join them for a hot dog and some soda pop. Arthur left the spool wedged in the fork of a tree. He did not notice, while he was eating the hot dog, that the wind was blowing the string and tangling it about the tree. The string got shorter and shorter and shorter. Oh no. But Stanley did not realize how low he was until the leaves brushed his feet. And then it was too late. He got stuck in the branches. 15 minutes passed before Arthur and the other boys heard his cries and climbed up to set him free. Look, he is seriously stuck up there. What do you think the squirrel is thinking? Who's that flat kid up in the tree? Stanley would not speak to his brother all evening. And at bedtime, even though Arthur had apologized, he was still upset. Alone with Mr. Lambchop in the living room, Mrs. Lambchop sighed and shook her head. "You're at the office all day having fun," she said. "You don't realize all I go through with the boys. They're very difficult." "Kids are like that," Mr. Lambchop said. Phases. Be patient, dear. Do you know what it is to be patient? Being patient might mean waiting for something. You're right. Do you think Mr. Lambchop is asking Mrs. Lambchop to wait for something? To wait for the boys to figure things out, grow up a little bit, and learn how to be kind to one another. It can be challenging sometimes, but I'll bet they're going to make it. What do you think, Flat Larry? He thinks they're going to make it too, and he's sorry that he thought Stanley would not be a kite. He admits Stanley was a great kite. Now, I don't know if you saw, but Flat Larry has been exploring the church. And this week we had a little contest on Facebook to see where Flat Larry was. And Miss Stella Bittle won the contest, and she's getting a prize in the mail. So watch out on Facebook for the next time when we post where Flat Larry might be, and see if you can guess where he is. Bye, friends. We sure do love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Can't wait to read more of the adventures of Flat Stanley with you. Bye.